guys are.
Okay, and we're back.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Let's see here. We talked about inclusivity. I'd love to point out the new piece on the top of the building.
Yes.
So as we know, public art can have a profound effect on cities. If you could create or facilitate one large-scale public art project in Des Moines, what would it be? Of course, we could touch on Jordan Weber's piece, Inhale, Exhale, which I was a part of the ceremony for that, and it was beautiful. It was led by a guided meditation, and I remember going home that evening on a Friday night, like feeling so fulfilled from sitting in that community with the kids from Oak Ridge, and I want to do that every Friday.
Right. It was a magical night, and I think the beauty of Inhale, Exhale, it is a piece of public art on our rooftop, and it looks great in the daytime, but at night it does light up and light down with each breath. And I think it is, just superficially, that idea that there's meditation, there's ways to kind of breathe through whatever you're going through, but there's so much history about the site and the location of that project that I think is super interesting. And I think like my most important public art piece, like I love public art, like that was almost like a career path 20 years ago in my life. But I think it's the idea of going back to the artist. Like I don't want to put my idea out in the world. I want artists to dream, and normally pieces go where people say we have money and we want to support it. But I would love for the community to embrace artists who say, oh, I want a piece of art right out there in that medium, and this is why I want it there and what it will do and how it could change the whole corridor of Northwest Des Moines. But I think that's it. So many artists have to fit into the plans, the RFPs, the proposals from other organizations. But what would it be like to ask the artist what they want to do and where, and to build it that way, more ground up than top down? That would be exciting.
Get them in those meetings with those city planners,
yes,
those developers.
Yes.
They would be remiss to consider that.
Integrate artists from the beginning rather than towards the end.
I mean, it's like good design. It makes you feel good. It makes in tech, in clothes, in art, in home decor. It makes you feel like you're an optimized human being, living a human experience.
Because I think we all have ideas. We all have ideas.
But then we need the editors of the world, the curators,
we do.
The people with the wherewithal to, I mean, it's a symbiotic, collaborative effort. That is a beautiful thing. Maybe two more questions for you here. I do want to talk a little bit about mental health. There's been growing recognition of art's role in mental health and wellness, as we talked about earlier. How do you think local artists and art spaces can contribute to conversations around mental health, specifically in Des Moines, and could art be a more integral part of community well-being?
I mean, absolutely. We are fortunate to have Momentum, which has a studio here at Mainframe, and they are part of Community Support Advocates, who is rooted in mental health. And they have a huge studio downstairs. You can come in the afternoon, Wednesdays through Friday, to make art. And it's really geared for people who might be living with physical disabilities or with mental health conditions. But it's that idea that artists can create to kind of move through and deal with certain situations, or to help heal. We have other artists in the building who offer drop-in times where you can come in and make some artwork. And so that's it. Sometimes you're challenged with, well, I don't have anything to make anything with at home. Well, there's places here. There's the public libraries that offer programming, and I think there's so many places in the community that see that value. I think of Dr. Deming, and things happening within cancer research, and just as you're dealing with whatever is hard and challenging in your life, art is a way to help process that, or distract yourself from it. I mean, art can work in multiple ways in that capacity. And even when I think about learning, when I was a teacher, it was like, if you have students draw or actually physically write, you're able to remember it. Like 70% better. It's just overwhelming. And that idea of like, maybe we all just need pencils and crayons, and to incorporate that into the workplace. Have some Play-Doh sitting around. Like, what does it mean to like be in touch with your body and to touch things and be more connected to ourselves rather than to a computer.
Yeah.
I think it would be really transformative.
I think so too. We just had branded notebooks made for Burt Management, and we put inside of them a statistic about how you remember things more when you actually physically write them down. But on another note, I think it's interesting, you know, when I was a younger, kind of moody girl and I would get in my cathartic emo phase, I would always reach for something like painting, or, you know, we'd cut up the magazines and make a collage of some kind. And I do think that as people get older, they kind of lose touch with that modality of, you know, self-identifying with whatever emotion they're having via art. And yeah, I wonder if, adults maybe just need to be allowed,
right?
Given permission
Yes.
to, like, pick up the watercolor palette and paint it out. Like,
Yeah.
go rip up a magazine again.
Exactly, and that's what I love about Mainframe, because it's in a way this adult playground. Like,
Yes.
it's a place for adults to come
Yes.
and make art and to get messy and dirty in their own studios. And I think I'm really affirmed by, there's so many people here who have studios and they've retired, and like this is now their second career.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't expect to have a second career, but it turns out they really enjoy painting or drawing or working with clay, and then it somehow has turned into this whole renaissance of a second chapter of their life.
Yeah.
And I love that people have realized that, keep make something, but we just have to encourage it.
You have to encourage it, and you have to recognize that it's not always about like what's going to make you the most money.
No.
You know, art is so, I truly think that the human experience, we're meant to just create, right? Create, to keep learning ourselves, keep learning each other.
And it's a form of expression, right? Like, you don't always have the words for things, and art gives you the tools to communicate that, whether it's with color or certain materials. Yes.
I'd love to sometime get you offline and talk more about the ethereal side of this and like consciousness and spirituality, because that's another big interest of mine, and I think art is so can be a portal into some of these topics. Let's do one last question. Well, it's a two-parter. What advice do you think you could give to aspiring leaders or professionals looking to make an impact in their field? It doesn't have to be related to art, just anyone who's looking to, you know, make some impact and lead.
I think it's easy to say, I'm busy, right? Oh, I'm too busy for that. But I think it is stepping out of your organization and going to experience others, to see how other people do things, to make connections, to meet new people, and really see other ways that you could approach the work. Some of my biggest growing and learning moments have been when I've been attending events that are not in arts and culture sector at all, and then I just get blown away by that and how it can be adapted to what I'm doing every day. So it's just being open and curious in general. So that would be my piece of advice.
Diversification.
Right. And I think that works for artists too. It is, you don't create in a vacuum. So go out and experience the world, because art is usually about something. So, and sometimes you just need a little shift, or you need a little kick in the pants. You need something to get you out of how you see the world, so you can come at it from a different way. And so it is going out, asking questions, looking at things.
I love that.
Wondering.
I always, my reminder to myself when I'm feeling stuck is I find how I'm making it about me. Like, in what way am I making this about myself, and how can I make it about how I can help, how I can give, how I can serve. And that usually lends to me making better decisions and feeling more inspired in general. Last question. What's next for you? Are there any exciting projects or personal goals on the horizon that you are particularly excited about?
Well, for Mainframe, we are working on doing some very intentional K through 12 youth art field trips, and really developing that experience, because again, this is such a gift. This place is such a gift. How many times do you have an organization who ends up with 160,000 square feet to share in the community? And that's what I'm excited about, because kids can tour Mainframe and see artists at work and realize that it is a viable career path. for them. They can see artists working in all sorts of different media, and then they have a place to actually make some art while they're here. And I think that sets us apart. We do have space that's sitting unused during the daytime, and so we can put that to work and create a place to have artists come in, be teaching artists, and share that with kids, because in a way we're building our future. That way we're creating new tenants, future tenants, or creating future art patrons and participants. So it's kind of the long game that I'm interested in being a part of and developing, but really having some really cool arts learning happening here for K through 12 youth year round. And then personally, it's working on that life and work balance, right?
Sure.
And realizing that it's not always about Mainframe, that my background and career has been a professional artist, and that it is creating that time for my brain to create. And whether that's at home, that's here, that's wherever, there's some cool projects I have in mind, and just need some time to sit down and get those advanced a bit more.
Okay, so part 2 will be exploring Julia's newest collection.
Yes, right? Well, that's it. I used to transform rooms into experiences, and that's a lot of work. And I'm like, well, maybe I start working a little bit smaller and seeing how I can do that. So I still think there's some big stuff out there. As I put the little things together, they become a collection.
You are a powerful woman, and I have no doubt that whatever you put your mind to, as we have seen, it will be great, and it will be, I'm sure, collaborative and beautiful, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with next.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sarah. This was great.
It was so fun. Thanks.
Yeah.
And if you guys are interested in learning more about Mainframe Studios, drop your social handles for us, if you don't mind.
We are at Mainframe Arts on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes, and then they're located downtown Des Moines. Remind us of your address.
It's 900 Kia Way in downtown Des Moines. And we've got our website, which is mainframestudios.org.
If you have not been to Mainframe, you got to get there. Call me, I'll give you a ride. We can have wine first, it'll be great. Can't wait to see you there.
Bye. Thanks.
Beautiful.